I don't remember how we met, to be honest.
I think we've just been at uni, and you kind of
Yeah.
meet, and um,
I think you asked me if I wanted to write a piece.
I have a Facebook message from 2015,
Yeah.
like because I had to do all that research. Yeah, there's something like saying, yeah, I asked you walking down the like outside. It was like walking outside the courtyard.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh dude, you should probably write a guitar piece or
Yeah.
something like that. So I kind of heard through Cameron Sloan,
Oh, right.
yeah, that you had tried writing one,
Mm-hmm.
and you're already kind of doing your thing and you've been around, and I was like, oh yeah, that guy's pretty cool. So I hit him up because I was starting to get into just New Zealand music. I was working with Louise and Nicklin, and she was writing a few pieces, and I was just finding it interesting, and then just kind of realizing there isn't like as much New Zealand guitar music that I want to play as I realised. So then I was like, oh okay, I'll ask a few people. There are plenty of composers around, and Glen was like, yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
And I think we were starting our masters at the same time,
Yeah.
so it was good timing. And I was kind of still in a stage where I could mix up what I was writing for and writing for opportunities. So it was really nice to have someone approach you and go, I really want to work on a piece. I mean, often, it's like you go, I want to write this, and then you find the people to do it. But then, writing a solo piece is a good challenge. But it's also this idea of the performer being personally invested in it as well. It's really nice. So they're there during the creation and they play it. They have multiple opportunities to play it because they don't need to rely on getting together with other people and rehearsing, and then when they put the time into it and they really get to know it, then I think you have like a good reason. You want to show people, and so that's really nice. It's beneficial for both of us, and it's great. Yeah.
Yeah, when you're working with someone so close that and especially like when you get to the point of like, oh yeah, good friends, like there is just that next level of, you have a different type of intuition towards the interpretation of work, and because you didn't really think about it, but you kind of just like, you start really kind of going, oh yeah, I'm playing this person. Well, not necessarily like playing this person, but like, as in like you kind of just do it. So, oh yeah, that's so Glen. Oh, like, that's so this person. That's so this person. So, and yeah, I mean, there's also the honesty. It's like, because you break down all those things and you realise like, oh yeah, I want this, but how do we get to that? Or I was just like, Jake, no, it's got to be funky, or like it's got to do this. You're playing too fast or something like that, and you hear it directly from the horse's mouth, and you're just like, yeah, okay, so I can do that. And you've always just got to be on the ball as well. So that's really, it's intense, but it's like so beneficial as performer learning it, but also like just in general, your musicality develops so many different ways. I think it's like you get this fresh start. You're the first person that's doing this. You're giving people the first perspective on a piece, so you got to make sure that you try and do that as best as possible, so then someone can kind of almost better you in a way, because like your interpretation is like the kind of thing with like, oh, this is what we did during the collaboration, this is how I willed there. I saw this stage, I saw this bar of notes get written before this bar, or like that I understand why this got scraped away. Like you have all this like different things going on in your head, and so you got to go, sweet, how can I make that as like, how can I do the best job possible for someone who's going to hear this for the first time?
my original thoughts were to write a piece. Well, I was kind of interested in different tunings, and maybe using some Renaissance lute like music as a kind of starting point. And yeah, I really wanted to kind of play with the tuning of the guitar, and I think I was a bit too ambitious. I was trying to figure out, trying to hear these tunings and like be very confident of what it was, what I was hearing and what I wanted to write, and also kind of figuring that with how it would work with the guitarist playing it, and that was really difficult. And so I decided to kind of tone it down a little bit, and so I used these fragments from Gorzanis, who wrote a lot of lute music, and actually they're from, each movement is based on a different one, but they're originally songs for lute and voice, and a lot of them are kind of parodies of love songs. So the first one is it's describing the hair of his love and how beautiful her hair is. And then it kind of turns into how the hair turns into a metaphor of how he's entangled and he's just trapped in this hair. Yeah. So it's just kind of full of wry humour like that, which I quite like. But I liked the material, so I used that. So those kind of provide melodic fragments, but then they're kind of taken in a very different direction. And obviously there's a big influence from Britain's Nocturnal, taking the John Dowland and kind of revealing it at the end, whereas I did the opposite. I kind of presented it in a sense. It's never really, the first movement it's presented quite clearly. Second movement you wouldn't find it. I mean, you'd have to do a lot of searching, and even then you'd be very, And then the third movement, it is stated at the beginning, but it's kind of filtered through the timbre of the guitar, and the rhythm is kind of displaced. Originally I was thinking of these kind of spectral tuning the guitar and in this completely foreign way to how a guitarist would approach it, and then just trying to deal with that and the how you notate that, and all of that was kind of a bit too much at that point. It's definitely something. This piece is like a building block towards that piece. So, but the tuning in this piece, it's still tuned in fourths, but it's each time it's a bit sharper. Each string is a bit sharper, so that when you play a fifth, it's a just fifth. So when you play the fretted, like just how you would play a fifth on guitar, then it would sound. But then of course as it goes up, it gets sharper.
Well, and I think it's allographic kind of tuning. So like when one thing happens when you tune, it's like when you standardly tune, you kind of like tune from one string, so it's like kind of equally tempered. But when you go up, it gradually gets more out of tune because you're kind of going, okay, sweet, this one's like this, then that one's like that, that one's like that. So then it just kind of gradually builds. And if the high E is going to be here, it's actually going to be up here after you finish. So the rest of it, so you kind of get this. It definitely tripped me out.
And it's kind of going back to the early music where tuning wasn't equal tempered, and you have so different tuning systems would emphasize one interval at the expense of another. So they would make it a just fifth, which would change the third, or they would want a pure third, so that would change the ratio of the fifth. And then so obviously if you're in a key, you tune to the key that you're playing in, and then when if there's any modulations, then you get a lot of artifacts out of that you wouldn't. And so that was something that I was interested in. And I don't think it's a massive difference actually for an audience. I don't think they would.
But you kind of adjust to it quite quickly. Yeah. Like it's that first note. Like I'm playing a G, a B on the third string, an open B, second string. Now you can hear it there, but as soon as you go to the next chord, it's just like perfect. And you're just like, ah, like, but it's like the way it works out is that you get some chords which are just quite, was that quite right? And then you get other chords which are just like bang on. It's like nice going between that ebb and flow, and then finding these. It's like a bit of musical direction as well as a performer.
It's nice. It's nice having those colours.
Mm.
Yeah, they're just like very slight, but.
Sort of, like definitely in the harmonics bit as well. When
Definitely.
It starts kind of ringing around, especially if you've got like a nice echo chamber of a room, and you kind of get that when you kind of wobbles.
Mm-hmm. I found this piece was a good way of learning the guitar in a sense.
Yeah.
So it's been there's a lot of workshops with Jake.
What I ended up observing when working with Glen was and kind of talking about was the importance of being able to visualize an instrument. And the guitar's it's a different thing because it's a homophonic and very polyphonic instrument. So when you hear all this like these classic guitar tunes, you're hearing a piano but almost on its side and everything. I don't know, because that's one way someone described it to me, like especially when you look at guitar music, it kind of looks like piano music but with one stave. So trying to get that into the head and just like that, but you can't think horizontally, you've got to think vertically.
So there was the second movement and there was all this harmonic stuff in it, and I kind of mapped that onto harmonics and created kind of harmonic fields that I liked, and I created patterns with those. So like the third movement is kind of, or the bit with the repeated patterns, I kind of taking the harmonic material from the second, and I brought it to Jake with these patterns, and then we kind of worked within the kind of idea of how the pattern was, but then kind of changed certain ones, because someone would be like that, you'd be like doing that.
Yeah, it's like, oh God, I
yeah,
can't go
and
all
then,
the way
but
down
then
there.
if you like change one note here, you can go back, so that we kind of did a lot of that in the third movement.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we spent hours.
So that's
sorting that out. So I guess the other thing was knowing what Glen actually wanted. So Glen wanted this like an after effect, like the reverb or the higher partials, especially in that third minute. It's like kind of like the way I think about it is like, when a choir stops singing in a church and then you hear the reverb and everything, that's what the last movement kind of sounds like. It's like that after effect of the let ring, all the high partials stay there. So knowing that and knowing that he wanted something smooth, and just being able to not only make it have that effect, but kind of almost feel like that on the guitar as well. So you're not just like hearing it like that, you can actually feel playing it as well. My thesis is collaborating with the guitar. That's what the title's called. And I was, like as I was saying, like I just kind of had this interest in learning new music. I don't know why. I just I guess kind of I guess searching for my own musical voice really. I found that the pieces that I was most attracted to were pieces by non-guitarist composers, where there was more focus on the music, like there was more almost cohesiveness of the musical direction, and like these little puzzle games, like as Glen was saying, like you try and find it in this, like find the Gorzanis tunes in the second movement, like. And I kind of liked that idea. It's called Collaborating with the Guitar, an exploration of collaborative practices between non-guitarist composers and guitarist performer, and the creation of new works with the guitar. Everyone seemed to be having a lot of trouble writing for it, which I kind of couldn't really get my head around. I was like, what's so hard about guitar? It's like the most popular instrument in the world, and are there some approaches that may be able to be standardized in order to, write a guitar piece successfully, like, so someone else can try and do it. The way that Glen's piece wraps into it is, this visualizing the guitar point, but also talking about how much time you need to invest with someone in order to write something which they're not quite familiar with, or there are specific idiomatic challenges for. There's a lot of discussion over, okay, how do we write that scrapey sound? And there was like one point where I was like sending photos of like, oh, this looks kind of good, but it doesn't really work for our context. And then he would say something like that. And I'd be like, oh, what about something like this and something like that? It's a piece which I think has definitely proved itself in, like, for one thing, competition, but like that time invested and like from both people is what it takes in order to create a work which maintains the musical voice of the composer, but also makes it idiomatic for the instrument, so other people can, besides the one person who collaborated with can play it.